Aaron, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love. Oh yeah, I do remember that my documentary is out right now. I re-released it. The Hip Hop Nucleus, a documentary on the legendary Tunnel nightclub. If you have not seen it and you always wanted to see the Tunnel documentary, it's on Amazon Prime right now. You know what I'm saying? Go check that out. I think you can rent it for like $2 or something like that on there. So support your boy. Let me turn this Instagram on. What up, y'all? Choke no joke. I'm live on YouTube. You already know. Son of a bucket, what up? I am Bilan, what up? All right, Justice for Pac, what up? Kudo, what up? Love Bennett, what up? Choke no joke, I'm live on YouTube, all right? Instagram, y'all know what it is. All right, let's get to this, right? So, for all those who just tuning in, you know, some of y'all may not know who I am. You might just be here because you see Diddy name, but I am the legendary videographer, producer, director. Choke no joke. All right, from the Boogie Down, Bronx, BX, New York. All right. So every day I'm dealing with the current events. I deal with uh celebrity trials and stuff like this. So I've covered the Cardi B and Tasha K, the R. Kelly, now the Tupac. Now, I guess we will be getting into Cassie suing Diddy. Now, I know everybody's been running around all crazy hearing about this story, right? And like I was saying earlier, Instagram, before y'all joined us, you know, it seems like the things that, if you know my history, you know, I've been in the game since like 95, you know, documenting at the Tunnel nightclub in New York City, you know, and my documentary is out right now, Amazon Prime. The Tunnel documentary is called The Hip Hop Nucleus, Nucleus. All right. EUS. All right. Nickel Nucleus. The Hip Hop Nucleus. Or put the Tunnel documentary or put Choke No Joke on it. And when you watch Amazon, it'll pop up. All right. I appreciate the support. Like I'm back from the tunnel all the way up. And before I even did the tunnel, I was a model and actor. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of music videos from like 92 all the way up. You know, I started, rapping, trying to shop demos and everything. So I've done a lot in the industry. And I even been around Puff a few times. And his music videos, I did probably about 4 music videos, I think, with Puff. P 2000 remix, best friend, um, hate me now with Nas. That's all I can think of right now. I know it's another one, but those are the 3 that I can think of right now. But anyway, so from a long time, I've been seeing this dude since City College days. You know what I'm saying? When that situation happened, rest in peace to all those people that lost their life in City College. So I've seen this dude go a long way. So I've been around the industry for a long time. Now, when I got to a certain level in the industry, you know, I ain't counting to what these people call the doors now, you know. And I told y'all, uh, for some of us, we call it the glass ceiling. You know, you get to a certain level and things stop because you're not willing to go the extra step to step inside the sinister side of the entertainment industry, right? So, and I'm giving y'all this back story before I get into this case, just because before I get into it, because I didn't get into it yet, and uh, to see or to reiterate to y'all what I've been talking about over the years, to see whatever comes out and what we see in this lawsuit to co-sign some of the things that I've been telling you, right? So you got the people that always say, oh, why every time a nigga like Puff get rich, he got to be doing some gay shit or some crazy stuff, or he got to worship the devil, this, that, and the other, right? You always get that when you're in the industry and you've been in it as long as I have, right? And you get to see a certain level of the business that other people don't see. Like some people may, it's millions of people that love Beyonce, right? But there's people that work very close to her that might, allegedly say, oh man, Beyonce, she's a prick, you know, and you, the fan that never even fucking been in a room with her, like you can't, no one can tell you anything bad about this person because until you first experience it yourself, you wouldn't believe any of these actions could exist. Now, even now with Cassie, there's going to be people saying, oh, she's lying. Oh, she just won Diddy money. Oh, she left and now the grass ain't green on the other side, right? Um, oh, she missed that lifestyle. Oh, she wanted to be Carisha, you know. Uh, she wanted her spot back for Carisha. These are just things I'm just thinking in my head that people would say to combat what Cassie was in Cassidy's lawsuit, right? Um, because as fans, they can't never fathom that Diddy could be this person that she's paying, right? Oh, why did she stay with him this long? You know what I'm saying? And then, not to sidebar too far, but then when you hear the rumors of him having some involvement in Kim Porter's death, when we go through this lawsuit, keep that in mind when we go through this lawsuit of some of the things that she say, right? Because you got to remember, even though he was with Cassie, he still was with Kim at the same time, because he wouldn't let Kim just be free and go off and do her and be her and date whoever she wanted. The same way Cassie was being controlled, so was Kim, allegedly, right? So getting back to Cassidy and getting back to the industry. So when I tell y'all, oh, like birds of a feather flock together, so to speak, in the industry, is because those dudes that you would never think is gay, you would never, or bisexual, whatever the hell you want to call it. If they deal with men, they gay, right? So you would never think that, right? But if I tell you, oh, niggas don't fuck with me because they can't fuck on me, then I'm just a broke nigga. I'm jealous of their success. I just want to be down. Oh, like I get all that. But for the fans that can't fathom this to be true, they just look at me in that way when I'm telling you, no, nigga, if I gave up my motherfucking ass, and nigga, I'll be a multi-millionaire right now. Period. No question. I come from the struggle. I made it successful. I made my name. I got the talent, this, that, and other. For me to get that extra lift up to the thing, I gotta go over here and play with these niggas that I don't want to play with. Because I don't play they reindeer games, right? But for the person on the outside is, oh, I'm hating. Until you see a person like Fat Joe, Nori. Fat Joe tell you it was a gay mafia, right? You don't hear him saying that shit no more, right? Nori told you it was two doors, right? You don't hear him saying that shit no more, right? Right? Because people get a second wind of success, right? So these opportunities come back around to them. Oh, remember them doors? Hey, you back at the door again. What you gonna do this time? Well, shit, I'm older now. I ain't gonna be broke. I ain't gonna be going through the hood. I'll take this one. You know what I'm saying? Same thing the other one. Now you see niggas in the White House. For what success? What the fuck have they done lately to be in the White House, to be chilling out with the vice president and the president and all these motherfuckers? Like, they came back around to those doors. Hey, remember those doors? Hey, you're a little popping right now. You want to go? I'll take this one. Right? And then boom. Niggas is on networks and this, that, and the third. Right around the same people, I'm telling you, that made passes at me. So I know birds of a feather flock together. I don't care what niggas say. But you can look at how niggas change. You can look in their appearance and how they change. You can look in their mannerisms and how they change. You can look at when they around certain people, how uncomfortable they look. But for the majority of you, no, I'm hating because I'm broke. And that side of the world doesn't exist, right? It just, that side of the world only exists if you believe in jealousy and you hating, right? Until you get to this level to see it for yourself. Now, fast forward to the future. Cassie, right, has made it to the level of where I made it, right? She might have had one song, she a little something, but her career was based on walking through the doors, right? Her walking through the doors introduced her to a lifestyle that we're about to find out about. And this is why I'm prepping this before we get into a lawsuit, so y'all can understand that there's the industry, and then there's the, which I want to call Illuminati, the gay boule, uh, the secret societies, whatever fraternity, sorority it is. This is what you're about to get a glimpse inside of it through her lawsuit, right? Now, I'm not going to be like everybody else and just get up here and report and say, oh, they. Yeah, I know how I do it, right? I'm going to bring the lawsuit, right? Man, as you can see here, this is the first time that I pulled up a case and they had this disclaimer on it. Trigger warning. This document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including sexual assault. So that's my disclaimer to you right now, right? If you are triggered by sexual assaults, um, this document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including sexual assault. So please turn off if you are a person that get triggered, because I don't want nobody to get no trauma of, you know, from Cassie's experience dealing with Sean Combs in Bad Boy Entertainment, who in Bad Boy Records and Epic Records, Combs Enterprise LLC, and DOE Corpse, allegedly, right? So before I get into it, I'm letting y'all know I'm coming with the facts. I'm not like everybody else just get up here and just gossip. Oh, Cassie suing them. We're gonna go through the lawsuit, right? But as we go through it, remember, she got through the doors. She got to be a part of that fraternity, sorority, to be amongst these other elite people, right? So remember, when I'm going through this lawsuit, remember, this ain't just your normal relationship, right? This is something much more deeper and sinister, allegedly, right? But as you can see, there's a trigger warning on this goddamn lawsuit, right? Now, here's the other half of what we're about to get into. Now, for people like uh Diddy and even Cassie, to even go and join these sororities and fraternities or Illuminati, whatever y'all want to call it, right? I don't call it Illuminati. Illuminati is a blanket name for a whole bunch of secret societies to me. Whatever y'all choose to call the entertainment shit sector of it, right? Now, she wouldn't be able to see these things if she didn't walk through the doors. Now, like I said, for me, I'm okay with the success that God gives me. I don't want the satanic steroids, right? Because this is what it double backs to, right? And I always tell y'all, when you sell your soul in this shit, in this entertainment shit, however y'all want to call it, right? Sell your soul, whatever, uh, go through the doors, get inducted into a fraternity, whatever, however you want to view it, however you want, it's different names for it, you whatever, right? I'm just going to say, when you sell your soul to the devil, Lucifer, Satan, whoever you may go, the dark side, right? There comes a price with it. They say when you sell your soul to the devil, he got a receipt. And at any given time, he'll get a receipt. Now I told y'all, niggas that for me, I said, I'm not gonna keep preaching this stuff because whatever niggas or whatever people uh spirituality is, that's their business. They gonna have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to keep harping on it because a lot of y'all don't believe it, right? So, and I tell you, people like Puff is necessary in this. Why? This is another reason why, right? You're about to see why he's necessary because there's an example to be made out of him, right? I told y'all this. Motherfuckers like him is necessary. Why? For you to learn what to do and what not to do, right? Same thing with Jay-Z. I told you. I ain't got to keep harping on the nigga spirituality or sexuality or anything like that because when them niggas, when they go through those doors and you get the success from those people, the dark side, that you don't ride off into the sunset. It don't. The end of the movie don't end like that. Ask Whitney, ask Michael, ask Prince, right? Kobe, right? Whether you choose to believe it or not, but when you look at how it ends for these people that you think that was so great at what they did, but when you really look at it and you really look at their career and then you look around, let's get back to Puff for example. This nigga lured Biggie to LA and had him out there, and that was the most dangerous place in the world for him to go, right? And everybody thought it was a bad idea, but Puff, right? You got Craig Mack, right? Who jumped off Bad Boy. You know what I'm saying? And then got thrown to the side like, oh nigga, Biggie bigger than you now. So yeah, you got us popping, but this nigga got it now. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? And it could just go on and 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 on, right? Then you get the shines, all this different stuff. But once again, these people on the dark side, they make you big. And then when they get tired of you, they pull the rug from under your feet. Right? So once again, most of these dudes do not get to ride off in the sunset. Now, Puff today, he got the liquor lawsuit going against him because he turned on those people. That started the domino effect. Then you got the Tupac situation out right now, right? And he looking like he could slip through that, right? Now, nobody would have ever thought that Cassie would be able to come and do what Kim Porter was probably about to do, and mysteriously loses her life. And the day she died, Puff was with her. But the police came, they picked him up, they took him downtown, and then they said he wasn't a suspect. And they let him go. But he was with her when she died. So now you're about to get a glimpse which is kind of exciting for me, but I don't want to be excited about nobody's trauma or anything. But where my excitement comes in at is I've been telling y'all this shit about the industry for a long time. I told y'all Puff came on to me, right? At Steve Rifkin house. Nobody, I would be just hating, or I'm just jealous, or I'm broke. When coming from me, you're not gonna believe it. Because I don't wear a fucking bunch of chains and jewelry, and I ain't driving a fucking Maybach and taking private jets. I would just be hating, right? But now, what this opens up the side of the industry that y'all all been hearing about, and I know it without even reading the lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? Why I know it? Because she's on the other side of the door in a relationship with a dude that's on the other side of the door that y'all would never hear about until she do this, a lawsuit. And I'm surprised that she didn't sign the NDA. And maybe she did, and the lawsuit supersedes her NDA. But let's get into it, okay? Let's get into this lawsuit. And do remember, my documentary is on Amazon Prime right now on the tunnel, right? The tunnel documentary is on Amazon Prime. It's called The Hip Hop Nucleus. Make sure y'all support that, please. Here we go. Let me read my copyright disclaimer just in case. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, common news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, let's get into Cassie's lawsuit against Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy Combs of Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy LLC, Bad Boy Entertainment, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises LLC, and DOE Corps or Doe Corps. 1 to 10 defendants. Okay. Plaintiff Cassandra Ventura, Miss Ventura, hereby alleges as and for her complaint against defendant Sean Combs, Mr. Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises, LLC, and Dole Corporations, 1 to 10, together defendant corporations, and together with Mr. Combs, defendants as follows. Preliminary statement. Defendant Sean Combs is a rapper and executive popularly known by his stages names Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. Mr. Combs came to fame in the early 1990s with his record label Bad Boy Records. He rose to prominence in the music entertainment industry over the decades and is regularly referred to as a hip hop mogul. In 2022, Mr. Combs received the Lifetime Achievement Award at BET Awards. During his acceptance speech, Mr. Combs stated, I have to give a special shout out. Thank you, love to the people that was really there for me. He named a number of people before adding, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love. Gotta watch what you say on these goddamn award shows, bro. Number three, truth, however, is that Cassie, Miss Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. For Mrs. Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking. Oh, shit. Sex trafficking. Here come the Rico. Here come the Rico. They're about to R. Kelly this nigga. Oh, here come the Rico. Among other violent crimes and unlawful acts, Mr. Combs raped Miss Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him. Often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. Forced Mrs. Ventura to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. You want to be in the music business? Ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. Oh, Puffy. Puffy. Demanded that Ms. Ventura carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. And introduced Ms. Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse and require her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. Number four, Ms. Ventura met Mr. Combs in 2005 when she was 19 years old and he was 37 years old. What? Oh, they about to R. Kelly this nigga. They about to go. Yo, this is the end of Puff, y'all. There's criminal charges coming out of this shit. Watch. He signed her to his label, Bad Boy Records, within a few years. Lured Mrs. Ventura into ostentatious. I don't know what this word is. I gotta find it. I need to know what that means. Ostentatious. That's how you pronounce it. Characterized by vulgar or presentations displayed designed to impress or attract notice. into an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him. Her boss, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry, and a vicious, cruel, and controlling man nearly 2 decades her senior. Whoa. Mr. Combs asserted complete control over Mrs. Ventura's personal and professional life, thereby ensuring her inability to escape his hold. He provided unprecedented avenues for success for the aspiring artist, but in return, demanding obedience, loyalty, and silence. Throughout their relationship, Mr. Combs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat Miss Ventura savagely. These beatings were witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment and Mr. Combs' related businesses, but no one dared to speak up against their frightening and ferocious boss. Hey, Gene, was you there, Gene, at this time? We got to ask Gene about this. I don't think Gene was there around at that time. Hell no. Cassie time? That's way after Big is gone. Following these episodes of horrific abuse, Mr. Combs would immediately attempt to hide Miss Ventura and the evidence of his violent rage. He often showered her with gifts following incidents of physical violence, a typical pattern of behavior by serial abusers. In addition to the physical assaults, Mr. Combs frequently reminded Mrs. Ventura of his ability to cause serious harm, whether by requiring her to carry his gun in her purse, or by blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in Mrs. Ventura. Adding insult to injury, Mr. Combs used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Miss Ventura into repeated unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers. Diddy? You talking about the Love album, nigga. Over the years, Mr. Combs abused Miss Ventura physically and sexually. She again and again tried to escape his tight hold over her life. Every time she hid, Mr. Combs' vast network of corporations, affiliated entities found her, and those who worked for Mr. Combs' companies implored her to return to him. Many went as far as to explicitly state that her failure to return to Mr. Combs would hinder her success to the entertainment industry. When she believed that she had finally separated from her longtime abuser, she joined Mr. Combs for a dinner, after which he forced her into her home and raped her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Miss Ventura has now fully escaped Mr. Combs, but the harm that assaults and sexual abuse has caused her to experience for nearly a decade will forever haunt her. She has required extensive medical and psychological care to recover from the trauma she lived through. She cannot, however, continue to live in silence about what she endured. Mr. Combs remains immensely powerful and immensely dangerous. Mrs. Ventura therefore seeks justice for the decade of her life that Mr. Combs took away from her with threats of violence, excessive use of drugs, physical and psychological abuse, and sexual slavery. Damn. Accordingly, Mrs. Ventura brings this action seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against defendants in violation of federal sex traffic laws. Oh, shit. Of federal sex trafficking laws, New York State human rights laws, executive human rights laws, the Gender Motivated Violence Act, New York City Administration, the New York Services for Victims of Human Trafficking, New York Service, Sexual Abuse and Cover Up Accountability Act, and the California Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Oh, they going, this is the RICO, bro. This is the shit they got R. Kelly on. Oh, he's fucked. Jurisdiction and venue. This court has jurisdiction pursuant to and 1343 as this action asserts violations and therefore federal questions regarding the deprivation of plaintiff rights. The court has supplement jurisdiction over plaintiffs' related claims arising under the state and city law pursuant to 28 USC. Venue is proper in this court because a substantial part of the events or admission giving rise to this action, including the unlawful employment practices and intentional and negligent tortious conduct alleged herein, occurred in this district. Plaintiff parties. Plaintiff Cassandra Ventura is a resident of the states of California and Connecticut and was employed by defendants Bad Boy Records and Bad Boy Entertainment and related entities. At the relevant times herein, Ms. Ventura met the definition of an employee of the defendants under all relevant statutes. Defendant Sean Combs, upon information and belief, resides within the state of California. At all relevant times herein, Mr. Combs met the definition of an employer of plaintiff under all relevant statutes. Defendant Bad Boy Entertainment is a music media entertainment company founded by the defendant Sean Combs, which includes the record label Defendant Bad Boy Records, LLC. At all relevant times, defendant was an employer or plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. Excuse me. Defendant Bad Boy Records LLC is a Delaware limited liability company with a principal place of business located in New York, New York. At all relevant times, defendant was an employer or plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. Defendant Epic Records is a New York-based record label owned by Sony Music Entertainment, a subsidiary of Sony Corporations of America. At all relevant times, defendant was an employer of the plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. Defendant Combs Enterprises, LLC, a New York limited liability. Same thing. These are all the companies that she's suing. Defendant Doe Corporations, 1 and 10 are corporations and are entities affiliated with associated with defendant Sean Combs and the defendant corporations. Factual allegations. Teenaged Miss Ventura meets middle-aged Mr. Combs as her career begins. Oh, they threw her into teenage age, like to make her look like she underage. Miss Ventura met Mr. Combs in the late 2005 or early 2006. That's when I was producing Rap City. After Mr. Combs heard Mrs. Ventura's first single playing in the club and expressed interest in signing her to his label, Bad Boy Records. At the time, Miss Ventura was 19 years old. Mr. Combs was 37 years old. Within months, in February of 2006, Miss Ventura signed a 10-album deal with Mr. Combs' record label. Damn, how old is Carisha when she got with this nigga? Because if he got with Cassie at 37 and she was like 19 in her early 20s, didn't he get with Carisha in her early 20s? And he got to be like 50 because he was with Cassie for like 10 years. So he would be like 47. He had to meet Carisha at least like 50, dealing with a 20-year-old. Within months, in February 2006, Miss Ventura was signed a 10-album deal with Mr. Combs' record label. Who was signed a 10-album deal with this nigga? Like, well, you know what? Everybody didn't know. Everybody's not smart. Um, Mrs. Ventura's first album, Cassie, was released in August 2006, debuting at #4, on the US Billboard 200. To promote the album, Mrs. Ventura made television appearances on MTV's Total Request Live and BET's 106 in Park. Mrs. Ventura suffered from significant performance anxiety during these appearances, and press outlets were highly critical of Mrs. Ventura's performances on these shows. Yeah, because she wasn't really a performer like that. She was very stiff and yeah, I remember those days. I was at BET then. Uh, Mr. Combs, however, sought to rehabilitate his newly signed talent, telling MTV News, "You can hear the nervousness in her voice. And to be honest, I kind of smiled at it because it made me really appreciate what I really love about her. She's a regular person. It just made me appreciate that she got nervous, and it was kind of cute to me, to be honest. You got to understand that success for her is coming out of nowhere. It's just so huge, and sometimes everybody handles it differently. While clearly paternalistic and noting that it was cute to him how regular Miss Ventura appeared, Mr. Combs' comments rang true to some extent. Upon signing with Bad Boy Records, Miss Ventura was quickly thrust into the spotlight and was unfamiliar with how to navigate her new celebrity status. Mr. Combs' recognition and glorification of Mrs. Ventura's naive proved to set the groundwork for his manipulative and coerced romantic and sexual relationship with Mrs. Ventura, a woman nearly 2 decades his junior. Within a year of signing with Bad Boy Records, Mr. Combs became deeply enriched in Miss Ventura's life, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her, and inserting himself into all aspects of her career and her personal life. In November 2006, Mr. Combs invited Mrs. Ventura to perform his song Come to Me along with him at the MTV Europe Music Awards in Copenhagen, Denmark. After rehearsal for the performance, Mr. Combs walked around in a robe with a drink in his hand, flaunting his lavish party lifestyle to his label's newly signed artists. During hair and makeup leading up to the performance, Miss Ventura's hairstylist and Mr. Combs' makeup artist told Miss Ventura that Mr. Combs was interested in Miss Ventura. Miss Ventura shrugged off the gossip and, in fact, expressed disgust given the large age gap between her and the president of the record label. Emphasizing the age and the power dynamic early on in the working relationship, Mr. Combs positioned himself as a father figure and a protector of Miss Ventura. By the way of example, after returning to New York after a trip to Las Vegas, during which he endured a brief hospital stay, Miss Ventura, who by then was fully healthy, went out on the club with her friends. When Mr. Combs saw her out, he reprimanded her, telling her to go home and take care of herself. At the time, Miss Ventura thought that her record label was looking out for her well-being and that Mr. Combs had her best interest in mind. Mr. Combs also ensured he was intertwined with Miss Victoria's personal and social life, for instance, by inviting himself to Mrs. Ventura's 21st birthday party in Las Vegas. He also brought along famous musicians and producers, thereby flaunting his celebrity status and influence in front of a young, impressionable Miss Ventura. Although Mr. Combs knew that Miss Ventura was in a relationship at the time, and even though he was publicly in a relationship with Kim Porter, Mr. Combs nevertheless pursued Miss Ventura. At an after party in a hotel suite following Mrs. Ventura's 21st birthday party, Mr. Combs pulled Miss Ventura into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her. Miss Ventura did not consent to this unwanted contact. She immediately ran out of the bathroom in the hotel suite and cried. She told her best friend at the time about what happened, but was too scared to tell anyone else. At the Video Music Awards the following day, Miss Ventura's boyfriend at the time joined her and Mr. Combs at a table at the awards ceremony. Mr. Combs became angry, telling Miss Ventura that the invitation to the awards ceremony was only for her and not for her significant other. Now, was that Stevie or was that what's the Ryan Leslie? Because I think she was dating either Stevie or Ryan Leslie, one or the other. That's who Puff took her from. I can't remember. It might have been Ryan Leslie. Damn. I know Stevie was dating her too. I can't remember. All right. Despite her clear rejection of Mr. Combs, Mr. Combs lures Miss Ventura into a relationship. Despite her clear rejection of Mr. Combs' advances, Mr. Combs continued to demand Miss Ventura spend time with him, including for a weekend at Mr. Combs' residence in Miami and for nights out in New York City. One particular night around September 2007, Mr. Combs insisted on taking Miss Ventura out. Miss Ventura acquiesced, fearing, I don't know what that word means. I gotta look that word up too. Acquiesced. Accept something reluctantly, but without protest. Let's have her acquiesce. Miss Ventura acquiesced, fearing that rejecting Mr. Combs' request would have repercussions for her album deal with Mr. Combs and his company, Bad Boy Records. Mr. Combs picked up Miss Ventura from her apartment in Manhattan in a blue luxury vehicle. That might have been that blue Bentley convertible joint. Miss Ventura was surprised that when she got into the car, Mr. Combs was already inebriated. He handed her a pill and told her to take it. When Miss Ventura asked what the pill was, Mr. Combs dismissed her and told her she would like it. She later learned that the pill was ecstasy, something Miss Ventura had never before tried and did not want to try. This was the first time Mr. Combs got Miss Ventura high. These niggas, man, they can't get a motherfucking chick without fucking drugging them, boy, or getting them drunk. Weak ass niggas. Mr. Combs then proceeded, allegedly. Mr. Combs then proceeded to drive recklessly at a very high speeds down the West Side Highway of Manhattan. Miss Ventura was very scared, but did not dare to object to Mr. Combs, who appeared to be drunk, high, and agitated. Mr. Combs took Mr. Combs took Miss Ventura to an upscale lounge in downtown Manhattan, where he proceeded to get into an altercation with security staff who would not permit Mr. Combs to enter, presumably because he was belligerent. Miss Ventura decided to go home, but for the remainder of the night, Mr. Combs messaged Miss Ventura incessantly complaining that he left him high and alone. I guess that she left him high and alone. In early fall 2007, Mr. Combs flexed his power and influence when he paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party hosted by Miss Ventura. This fake posting allowed Miss Ventura to have an excuse to go to Miami, Florida, and get away from her boyfriend by using the guise of a legitimate event she had to attend. Miss Ventura was stunned at how easily Mr. Combs was able to recruit others to lie for him. Miss Ventura was uncomfortable with the fake flyer, but because the request to go to Miami was made by the owner of a record label, and because she was scared to go against her wishes and face repercussions to her nascent career, Miss Ventura agreed to join Mr. Combs in Florida. During this trip, Mr. Combs provided Miss Ventura with copious amounts of drugs. She became more intoxicated than she ever had before, and her intoxication lasted throughout the weekend trip, as she wanted Mr. Combs to continue to support her career, as she felt she could not refuse Mr. Combs urging her to take more drugs. After providing her with drugs, Mr. Combs had sexual intercourse with Miss Ventura during this trip. Now,